Hello, boys and girls. You should be finishing up right now. And we are all really looking forward to seeing what you're going to have to present. I know you know the RTE Dragons are in the house, and we're really excited to have them here again. These are some of the most successful entrepreneurs in Ireland. I was delighted to know Barry O'Sullivan over in Silicon Valley, and we worked together for the last too many years, Barry. I'm going to say 15 years. And I'm going to welcome Barry and the Dragons and give them a big round of applause.
Hi everybody, and congratulations on getting this far in the day. I think you all should have your how might we statement defined now and the problem defined, and the fun part this afternoon is coming up with a solution. And I'm delighted to be joined today by my four colleagues who have solved big problems during their career and have been very successful. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then give you some tips for later on when some of you will be up here with us pitching to the Dragons. So we don't bite, it'll be all good fun. So we have Chanel McCoy, Gavin Duffy, Alison Cowser, and Eleanor McAvoy on stage. And maybe I'll start with you, Chanel, and maybe just talk a little bit about how you got to this point in your career and how you go about solving big problems.
Yeah. Well, hello everybody. It's absolutely fantastic to be here. There's such a buzz and energy in here, which is great. My name is Chanel McCoy. I'm from Loughrea in County Galway, number 3 of 5 children. And as my mother often reminds me, of the 5 children, I was the only one she never took to the baby beauty show because I was by far the ugliest to take. But my family, my father set up a pharmaceutical company 40 years ago, a veterinary pharmaceutical company. I joined the business about 18 years ago, and that's when we set up the medical area in the business. And you know, I suppose when I look back then, I was 23 years old. We had absolutely no customers in the medical area. And the business we were in, which is generics, kind of copycat, Ireland wasn't a very good country for that. So we went off further afield to look at France to try and grow the business and get customers, you know. And every single business needs customers. And no matter what you innovate or invent, you know, you have to think who's going to buy it. So, you know, I remember trying to build a business, contacting lots of companies in France to see me. Of course, I couldn't get a meeting. Who was this Chanel person, little company in the west of Ireland? But, you know, I used to head over there anyway, get on the plane. I'd have my hit list of customers to target in France. And I'd go to their offices with no appointment. I would give my business card to the receptionist and, you know, ask them, can you see if Francois or Christine might see me? And of course they wouldn't because I didn't have an appointment. But, you know, that didn't deter me. And I used to sit in those reception areas, in those offices for hours because I thought that person has to walk past me at the end of the day when they're leaving their office. You know, and if I can just get 10 or 20 seconds in front of them, they might let me come back and see them the next day. And that worked a lot of the time. I got my 10 or 20 seconds with them when they were leaving the office at the end of the day, got to come back and see them, you know, the next day. And really, that's how we built the business over the years, and we're now, luckily, in 96 countries. It is that absolute perseverance, being really solution-driven, not taking no for an answer. You know, so that's how we grew the business. The team and I was just knocking on doors.
So perseverance, don't give up, don't get knocked back by an obstacle. And Gavin, you've been very successful in the media business. You're one of Ireland's most amazing networkers. How do you go about solving big problems, and what advice would you give to these people out here who are going to come up with some big solutions this afternoon?
Well, I think, is this our third time, you and I, Barry, here?
Yes.
John, thank you for having us back for a third time. You're obviously hard up, but great to be here. And I just love what's happening here today, because you've heard Chanel talk about her perseverance, and perseverance is so important. And she forgot to mention, not only is the business in Loughrea, but it also has created 500 jobs in Loughrea. It's a fantastic business, Chanel, and well done, and a huge contribution to the county of Galway. I'm very different, and this is why I love today. So to be successful in business, you have to be as persevere as well as Chanel did. I love startups. I love inventions. I love what you're doing here today, innovation. I love that genesis of something, having the idea, and then doing the execution of the start of it. But once it's up and running, I'm not the best person at doing the day-to-day running of a business. I learned that very early on, and so I'm back at the drawing board saying, okay, what's the next business I'm going to invest in or be involved with? So today, you're doing something very, very exciting. Now, I know you're missing, because you're in transition year, most of you, isn't that right? I know you're missing the hard study, because like me, you like that stuff where you persevere and doing something different in transition year. But I love, and that's what's wonderful about transition year as well. You'll get out of it what you put into it, and that you can do different things, try different things, and that's what I love. But you got to accept that for every success you're going to have, there's going to be quite a number of failures. And what I'll be saying to all of you here today is, when you go on to the next stage of developing your idea, you need sort of two types of people. You need to be able to get access to experts in the particular area or sector who are going to tell you, yeah, okay, it's a good idea, but. And then you need to have people who challenge you and sort of ask difficult questions and say, well, how are you going to make that work? And that way you hone your from just an idea or a dream to something that's going to actually work. And I think that's the difference between when you're questioned, well, it goes from being a dream or an aspiration to a plan and now a project. And that's what we're going to be looking for in the afternoon. When you come up to pitch to us, yeah, but which one of these really has the potential to go all the way? And I just think that's so exciting, Barry, to be doing that.
Gavin. That's great. So Alison, I know you're very passionate about global sustainability and solving problems that aren't necessarily just technical problems. How do you go about solving a big problem? You're looking at something that there is no solution inside. What approach do you take?
I suppose one of the things that I'm keen is that we don't always associate innovation with just technology. Technology is fantastic. It's something that has really almost invaded every aspect of our lives. But we still need to eat. We still need to breathe. We still need to exercise. Lots of things that maybe don't always involve technology. So I think the challenge is to innovate and come up with ideas that can really help the way we live our lives. I think it's really interesting to look at the day-to-day activities. At the moment in the food industry, for example, what we're really struggling with is that almost 50% of the food that is now consumed is consumed outside the home, and that is entirely different to where we were sitting in the food industry 20, 25 years ago. So they're the real big challenges that industries like the food industry has to address. It's all about food on the go. It's all about delivering nutrition in a very different world, in a world where starvation in the first world is not the issue, but obesity is now the issue. So they're the really big challenges that innovation has to deliver on to deliver a better lifestyle. So I would say the first thing that I would always do in innovation is look at how people are living their lives on a daily basis. Look at the really banal, boring stuff that we all do, and use that as your spark to figure out how we can make that better, how we can make the daily existence easier. And in the food industry, that is around things that we're now looking at, producing really good tasting food that delivers better nutrition. And that's something that's a huge challenge, but I think if anybody around here is eating protein bars, it's something that you've seen has happened really quickly in the last number of years, and that's delivering nutrition on the go in a really good tasting way. So that's, for me, the kernel of innovation is looking at how you're living your life and seeing how innovation can help.
So solving a real world problem or things that people are struggling with in the real world, which is kind of the challenge that we've put in front of this group today. And Eleanor, I know that you've been very successful, particularly in the energy industry, and energy and sustainability is a big part of the challenges facing the world. How have you gone about tackling really big issues and real-life problems?
Hi, everybody. I'm actually delighted to be here today. I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm actually born in Limerick. And I think you were all incredibly lucky to have this opportunity. When I went to school, nothing like this happened.
Didn't have shoes even.
No, we had shoes, but they were borrowed. But you genuinely are really, really lucky. And please embrace what's happening here today and connect with it. But back to your question, Barry, I suppose one of the things we all have to accept is the world is changing at a faster pace now than it did in the past. So for all of you growing up, because of technology, everything is going to change. And looking at what you're doing in terms of, you've been asked to look at a solution or be innovative and come up with a product. You must understand, do you just like it, or will the rest of the world like it? In other words, is there a market for it? And the other thing is, nothing gets done alone. So even if it's your idea, you have to learn to work with other people to take it to the next step. So I'm looking forward to seeing all the exciting ideas that you're coming up with.
Very good. Okay, so we're going to have, I think, 6 or 7 groups coming up here later on this afternoon to pitch their idea to us. Gavin, what are you looking for? What are the key things you'd like to hear from the teams? What are the tips that you would give them as the dragon, the master of the den?
The master of the den.
Yeah, gosh. You have to come up here and pitch, do they?
Yeah.
Because that's a big room, by the way. Wow, that'll be daunting enough. No, but like, you know, wow. Because I'm just looking here. It's a big room.
It's a big hall.
So, look, forget about the size of the room or the numbers of people you'll be talking to. You're pitching to the dragons, okay? And anytime you're pitching to somebody, it's just simply identify the problem, propose your solution, explain to us what's special about your solution and the thought process that you went through to arrive at that solution, how robust the solution is, and how well it's going to work. Today, you don't have to do what normally we would be looking for people to highlight for us, is then how much money we're all going to make from it. That's not part of today. And I would say as well, innovation works best when you don't try to land a totally finished product or solution. You know, keep it just a little bit loose, because I think that helps the creativity. So we certainly won't be questioning, will we, you know, oh, well, what happens if this or what happens if that? We just say, yeah, that is a serious problem. That seems to be like a good solution for it. Yeah, there's still a bit of work to be done, but that's the type of thing that will impress us. And I know it sounds a bit cliched, but try to enjoy it. You know, because it's just sharing a wonderful new idea that your table, as your group, your school, your class has come up with, and you're just trying to share it with us.
And Chanel, you've obviously, you're in the den, you're a dragon, but also you've had to go and pitch to, you talked about cold calling real customers. What advice would you have for the teams?
Yeah. You know, I mean, for any of you coming up here today, you know, it is a bit daunting. You will be coming out of your comfort zones, you know, and I think it's great as young people, you know, to come out of your comfort zones, to have the confidence to do this. You know, and it's self-belief, because I think when any of us are coming in to pitch, you know, we believe in our product, we believe in our solution, you know, so when you come up today, believe in it, be passionate, because when you go to roll out a product or a solution, you know, you will get knockbacks, and it is the passion that will keep you driven because you believe in it. You know, but for me, I would be looking at, you know, from concept, from your, obviously you can't, you can't find a solution until you define the problem. So, you know, it is with this solution you're proposing, can you get it to market? You know, is there material out there? You know, what's the kind of supply chain like? You know, how are you going to get it to market? And, you know, is there an end user for it? And is this kind of financially viable? We won't be quizzing you on figures, but, you know, will this sell? So there's some things I'll be asking.
Very good. And, you know, so I think you've defined the problem. And I think mainly what we'll be looking for is, you know, is your solution innovative? Are you thinking big enough? What would you like to advise the team on, Alison?
What I'm looking for is some teamwork, really. I think one of the benefits today is that you're working on a solution to specific problems, big problems, sustainable issues, which are of absolute huge importance to the world we live in. But what's also very important about today is working in a team. So I think, you know, the reality is you're sitting with a group. That's really the board of directors of your next company. So who's the MD, who's the finance director, who's the operations director, all of those things, you're working in a team. So when we hear you present, it would be great to see that you've worked together, that you've all worked on your individual strengths and skills, and the sum of the parts will be greater than the individuals. So that's what I'm hoping for, to see some of that teamwork.
Eleanor, what are you looking for?
Well, I think the best way to engage us and convince us that you're on the right track is tell us your story. Tell us why you think this is a good idea. I mean, you've discussed this, and there has to be a story as to how you get there. People listen and relate to your story. So I actually think that's the number one piece of advice that I would give you. Okay, so one quick sentence from each of you now. These, in a couple of years, these students will, a lot of them will be going on to careers or to college. As they set off on that journey, Eleanor, maybe I'll start with you this time and go across the stage here. What one piece of advice would you give them as they think about their future direction and future careers? Forget every no that you get on the road and only remember the yeses.
I like that. Alison?
I suspect everybody's fed up hearing the question, what do you want to be when you grow up or when you leave school? That's the wrong question. The question should be, what do you love doing and what are you good at? If you can find those two things matching in one career, you're on a winner.
Very good. Gavin?
Barry, if I answer it honestly, I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Okay. Don't pay too much attention to your parents or teachers. Because they haven't a clue what's coming down the road. Do you know what I mean? The world is changing now so fast. And that's quite exciting. I mean, I'd love to be your age because it's going to be amazing, the roller coaster you're about to go on with artificial intelligence and all of the things that are going to happen with us from a technology point of view. Challenges as well. But like, I'm just saying this to you, it's not that don't listen to your parents or don't listen to your teacher. I'm just saying that to be smart. What I really mean is this. Don't be unsettled if you're not sure what you're going to do in 4 or 5 years' time. Because none of us really know what we're going to be doing in 4 or 5 years' time. If you go back a generation, you know, yes, you sort of went, you got your points, you went to university, you know, you're going to have a number of different roles, I'll even say, rather than jobs throughout your career as such, or throughout your lifetime in the workplace. So, you know, be chilled if you haven't decided you're going to be X or Y. That's all right, because just keep your mind open and be open to innovation. And that's why I'm just going on to something else. In the next stage of this, I find the best innovators are people who don't come along and pitch you an idea. Go around to the experts here and keep asking them questions. We're thinking of doing this. How do you think we might be able to improve it? Rather than giving them a spiel. I think people don't ask questions enough about what their idea is. Sorry.
Yeah.
Chanel?
I think it's really important for you to stay current, you know, and if you are interested in certain industries or certain jobs, you know, there's a wealth of knowledge out there. You should listen to a TED Talk once or twice a week. Listen to podcasts, you know, of people in the area you're interested in, or, you know, if you're interested in engineering, you know, Google, what is engineering going to look like in 5 or 10 years' time? How is the pharmaceutical industry changing? You know, I know we all love listening to music, you know, for hours. But you know what? Turn off the music, put a few podcasts on, put a few TED Talks on, and stay current and know what's happening, you know, ahead, because you're just building up your knowledge bank, and that it will massively stand to you going forward in life.
Okay, thanks to the Dragons.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Barry.
Look, we're really looking forward to hearing from you guys this afternoon. We can't wait, because I'm sure we're going to learn a lot more from you than you will from us. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Some really great advice. Okay, so we're nearly there. So the next part of the innovation sprint is to develop the solution. And I know some of you on your tables were really, you know, looking at the solution before you were looking at the problem. So make sure you've got a good problem to work on now. You've got your how might we statement. And now it's getting up off the seats. It's going meeting the scientists, the engineers, the designers, the people at the stands. So advisors and mentors, this is your time to come and share, you know, all the different things that you're doing about cool technology, what's coming up in science, what's coming up in engineering and all of that. So this is the time to go socialize your idea, do your research, and build some great solutions for your product. So what we're going to do now is, we've got 1 hour for that. Within that time as well, we have a packed lunch for everybody. Our suggestion is 1 or 2 people from each table will go and collect a packed lunch from the far side of the room. So all of our volunteers who are working on the lunch area will be down there and helping you out. And you can have your lunch while you're continuing to work on your solution. That's okay. And upstairs for the teachers and for anybody else who would like to come along, we have a few more tech talks that are going to start now with the likes of Dell and Jaguar Land Rover. And we're going to start those now too, so you can make your way upstairs. So you have 1 hour, and then I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to be talking to you about the pitches and then the next stages. Don't forget about the social media raffles, but we're also going to have a really cool raffle for the teachers and for the mentors later today as well. So lots of great prizes. And judges, I will see you upstairs at 1 o'clock for the briefing. Thank you. Yep, I said that. Yeah, teachers upstairs for the tech talks. Thank you.